Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Demon first up. Oh, and Dead Metal straight in there. And also the Sergeant. The hardened aluminium frame taking some dreadful punishment but surviving. The aim to last 30 seconds here. The Sergeant winding up perhaps to have a run from the deep. There's Dead Metal being eased forward by Sergeant Bash actually. Oh, burning rubber. In comes the Sergeant again. Determined to take Demon out and does so.
Cease. Demon, take the platform. Well, you went over the edge, but you took Sergeant Bash with you.
They got us around the front. That was where it went wrong. And wouldn't let go. You know, the two of them just got us over the edge. There's nothing we could do about it.
You lasted a fair amount of time, though. You might have done enough. You might have done enough to make it to the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, Demon!
I totally agree, Craig. I think that's a good time, 27.47 seconds. Next up, Enzo.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
I love the Demon team. Ouch, it says on that hole in the Demon's hardened aluminium shell. Early pressure from the mule, early aggression from the mule. The Demon steers into trouble. The mule nearly flicking it with the forklift. And again coming in on the attack. Steady driving and control though by the Demon. Dave Clutterbuck's team have driven well since the early stage of the gauntlet. Look at this. The mule trying to push it into the PPZ. They're feeling horny, horny, horny. But it's the Demon surviving. Now edging the mule into that PPZ. I think the mule's actually steered itself in there in the end, which is trouble because the house robots come in for the duel with the mule. The Demon is immobilized, I've been told. The Demon's in trouble too. The mule's under attack from the house robots, but the Demon can't move. Killalot comes in to finish it off. The mule surviving, the Demon in real trouble.
Well, we're going to have to go for a judge's decision. Before we get that decision, let's look at some of the highlights.
That the early aggression from the mule. The Demon does well, though, to steer away from trouble, then pushes the mule into the PPZ. You'll get points for that. The mule survives, and that's where the Demon was immobilized.
Well, we have a unanimous decision from the judges. It might be controversial, I'm not sure, but the judges have gone for the mule. Congratulations! Guys, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's fair. We weren't very aggressive. We had a bit of trouble with the drive. And in fact, it's stopped now, so...
Yeah, I thought you were immobilised. I think that's where the judges went for in the end.
Mine stopped dead about the same time.
Yeah, but you were much more aggressive before that, weren't you?
If you say so, I was watching him, not me.
Ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause!
From Surrey, Thing.
Animated with its 6mm thick polycarbonate face panel, which lights up. It has two 4-pole DC motors and a formidable-looking lifting arm with an axe or claw.
We are the Addams family. I'm Nick, this is Jake and Isabel, and this is the Addams family Thing, robot's called Thing. It's basically an attacking scoop-shaped robot for attacking from this side. But on the back there's a steel spike which is raised up and down on an arm for penetrating and tipping over robots.
From Surrey, prize fighter.
With its front uppercut and rear straight jab, this brawler does pack a mean punch, but at 71.2 kilos, it's the lightest in the heat. Zero turning circle, yes, floats like a butterfly.
Hello, I'm the team captain. My name is Roy. This is my brother Eddie and our colleague Philip. And this is our robot, Prize Fighter. The robot's characteristics are that it has a variable ride height, powered by pneumatics, so that the front end is normally about 3 inches off the ground when we're driving, but we can then drop the front end to go into battle. And this front flipper, which is the boxer's left hook, will come up pneumatically, and if we're in the right position under a robot, it will then turn that robot upside down, hopefully. We have also got the characteristic that we can turn ourselves back onto our wheels if we're turned upside down, If the robot is rolled over, it will land automatically onto this front face, and by activating again the front flipper, followed by the boxing glove, which protrudes about 7 inches, the robot will gently roll back over onto its wheels, and hopefully we can then proceed with the battle.
God, enough talk, enough hype. There's Thing 2. With Nick Adams, who's a mean electric guitar player, they tell us. And there's Prize Fighter,
3,
Roy and Eddie Alcott,
2,
Phil Chaplin.
1, activate.
Will Prize Fighter have the punch? Ding ding! Round 1. Nudging underneath Thing 2. Well, Thing 2 needs the speed of Cousin It across the floor. Creepy and he's kooky. He's wacky and he's wild. Thing 2 on the attack. Prize Fighter 2 up and over. There's the Sreemet, the self-righting mechanism, the flipper, the lifting arm which rights itself. So important in this series of Robot Wars, and the competitors learning from each other. Very important. Up and over again goes Prize Fighter. Should get away from there, or is it just impaled on the arena wall? No. Can it get itself out though? I'm not too sure. Driving in on the attack is Thing 2. Dud-e-la-doo. In on the attack and into the CPZ. And in comes Bash. Yep, up and over. Well, almost. So is the flipper now working for Prize Fighter? Because no, they can't get themselves up and over. And the boxing glove is caught on the arena wall. And now we'll have burnt leather, I should think, on Prize Fighter's glove. They're stuck on the wall. Thing 2 did all the aggression, and if it was a boxing match, it would be stopped right now, let's be honest. Thing 2, the more aggressive, buzzy, happy-looking robot with the spike. Looks great, doesn't it? Thing 2. Well, I don't know what it's going on the flame bit, but Prize Fighter taking damage now from Shunt. Righted, but look, there's no strength left in that boxer's legs. In the red corner! And staying there, Prize Fighter, I should think. About to be counted out.
Cease.
Of Robot Wars. Here they come then, for this heat semi-final. The Adams family. Young Isabel once built a candle holder. Jake Adams once built Lego. Dad, though, is an experienced Robot War veteran.
Roboteers, stand by.
All talk, they look confident. Once again, Martin Sloss at the controls. Thing 2. The Demon team last time around, Nick Adams.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Good heat. Semi-final this. Thing 2 spinning. All talk with the power. We saw that very early on when it pushed Crippler into the pit, and now shoving Thing 2 across the arena floor. It's the quicker of the 2 robots. It's the heavier of the 2 robots. All talk. I would say Thing 2, because of its shape and the prodding ram at the back, has the more potent weaponry. That's that lifting arm too, Thing 2. Now spinning away to come in on the bulldozer front of All Talk. Trying to get itself in a position here, All Talk to come in and flip Thing 2 up. Against the arena wall, back again. Lurid livery of Thing 2, splendid. There's the lifting arm with the spike. Bashing against the bulldozer front of All Talk with those specialist tyres, custom-made for extra traction. Controlled by 4 QD speed controllers. All Talk get up to around about 20 miles an hour. Now pushed to one side again. Thing 2 spinning away. Lovely, lovely LED lights. Illuminating the eyes, and what came off there? I think it was the claw, the Thing's claw. With the ball, or the ball cock, as Philippa thought it was earlier on, has gone flying on the arena floor. So they get a lot of these robots in Robot Wars, gleaned from scrap yards and household items. Oh, a splendid battle this now. Bumping and barging going on, ramming and shunting. Up and over goes All Talk again, bashing down to the arena floor. Good aggression from both bots here. Bravery. Good driving control as well on the attack now. Thing 2, wheels spinning, pushing back All Talk with that extra traction. This is a great heave-ho, heave-ho. Thing 2 spins to come in again on the attack. evenly matched, these two robots. All slightly the heavier. But a good old contest. Again, Thing 2 on the attack, backs away. The rev up, crashing forward, they miss each other. Bashing against the arena wall. Slammed together there like some great old medieval joust, but missed. Joust in fog. The fog and smoke created by the house robots. They turn, again they're coming on with a bash there. On the front of Shunt we can see the camera. As Thing 2, the aggressor, pushes All Talk into Shunt. A lick of flame. A bash. A crash. Metal crinkled and buckled and bent. The dream's still alive. But for how much longer? Shunt slamming in with the axe. I don't think All Talk can get out of there now. And I think they've gone. They're immobilised, All Talk. And now the victims are the house robots only.
Roboteers, stand by.
A good final. Thing 2. Nick, Isabel and Jake Adams. And Cerberus from Greek mythology with Vasa, Theo and Alex.
Activate.
Thing 2, the niftier, speedier looking robot. Great design here. You really have to hold your hat off to them and applaud the work that's gone into the design of the robots in this series. And Thing 2 shoving the dog from Hades towards the flaming pit from hell. Both of them turning, trying to psych each other out. Cerberus leading with the steel ramming head. Don't forget it had the circular saw taken away. It was a hardened blade which can shatter against the rules, but they battled bravely on to reach the heat final. Ooh, a stutter there for Thing 2. And again, trying to get the sort of front battering ram type scoop in underneath Cerberus. A bit of a lurch from the Addams family, Thing 2. And a way to attack Cerberus again. A push back onto the flame pit. A hop and a jump from Thing 2 into the CPZ. And Matilda's in there with the tusks. And the glaring eyes. And the temperament problem. She goes and sees a shrink twice a week. And back into the arena for battle. One day Matilda will get better. Cerberus spins to come on the attack again. Against Thing 2. What's happened here? To Cerberus and the steel clubbing tail. The linkage is gone. It's come away. It's flipped up and over. A decisive attack from Thing 2 in the heat final. Marvellous driving by Nick Adams and Isabel. Cerberus up and over. And the dog from Hades is showing its underbelly and it wants a little bit of a tickle. And it wants respite and relief because Cerberus has been dogged to death by Thing 2. Pushing up and over after the steel clubbing tail seemed to have been ripped away. And Thing 2, marvellous competitors, great fun, and worthy winners of this Robot Wars heat.
Roboteers, stand by.
Kim Davis and Michael from Wales and from Surrey.
3.
Thing 2 with Nick, Isabel and Jake Adams.
Activate.
Trundling forward, Thing 2, with its array of weaponry, more for show than anything else. Panic attack, solid, dependable. The lifting spikes also deadly. That's good driving away from Matilda and also Thing 2 from panic attack. Now we'll spin and try and come on the attack again. All the aggression so far from Thing 2 though. And this is a good clash here. Thing 2 using the rear spike. Don't forget that can lift as well. The eyes gleam. Brilliant decoration on Thing 2. A lot of work has gone into this robot and the rest of the series. Thing 2 took 12 weeks to construct. Panic attack here again, of course, in the semi-finals, and Thing 2 up and over. The wheels spin aimlessly. Can it right itself now? Acta est fabula. Exactly, no idea. The spike, useless now for Thing 2. This, surely the moment when Panic Attack made it through. Beyond this stage, bouncing Thing 2 up and over. Using really the momentum of the arena floor spike 2. In comes Dead Metal with that circular saw onto the tyres of Thing 2. Isabel and Nick Her dad desperately trying to get Thing 2. Moving again. Oh, look at that. The tyre is smoking and shredded there. Oh, and again. A horrible squeal. Oh, poor Isabel. Knows that it's all over for Thing 2. Kill-a-lot looking on. Dead Metal sore. And Pincers have Thing 2 well in its grasp. And all that Kim Davis needs to do, bad driver and all, is stay out of trouble now as Panic Attack go through.
Well, Thing comes a cropper on the spike. Thing is now a thing of the past. Our reigning champion, Panic Attack, goes through. The winner is Panic Attack!
Colchester, Steel Avenger.
A second appearance in the wars, back to avenge defeat by dud-e-la-doo last time. 2 electric motors give a top speed of 15 miles an hour to this trusty steed, and Axe won't miss peeling back the shell of opponents. Shumi 2 actually fell to the Steel Avenger in the 3rd series of Robot Wars, into the pits. Then the Avenger came across a very good robot, an experienced robot in dud-e-la-doo, and when toppled, they couldn't right themselves, and they fell at that stage.
Hi, I'm John Willoughby, I'm team captain of the Pneumatic Fanatics.
Hi, I'm Kevin Cockrell and I operate the weapons.
And this is Tony Bates, our 3rd team member, who's on his way at the moment. This is our robot, the Steel Avenger. We've got a front-cutting blade, we've got a very powerful pneumatic axe this year, and the big improvement is we've now got an uprighting mechanism.
And this is our lucky mascot, which we hope to clear up in the arena with.
From Aldershot in Hampshire, Wild Thing.
We'll make our hearts sing if it can go one step further than the semi-finals this time around. A stream egg, a multi-purpose lifting arm and lance, and even the eyes are powered by electricity. Ding ding, round 1 came out quickly against the prize fighter. KO'd against the arena wall. Next up, Small Talk. A smash and a bash and a crash. And then a thrash. Cerberus turned over for a tickle on the tummy, but in the series semi-finals, up against Panic Attack, that's where it ended for Wild Thing.
I'm Nick Adams, and I'm here with Jake and Isabel and our robot Wild Thing.
Last Wars' arm is at the back, this Wars is at the front, and it can self-right us, lance other robots, and tip them up.
In last Wars managed to get into the last 16, but this year we're seed 11, we hope to go all the way.
From viewers in Nottinghamshire, Humphrey.
You better watch out Humphrey's about with its lifting arm made from a car jack, spikes, gearbox sprockets from a lawnmower. Oh, and there's an old table leg in there somewhere too.
Hello, my name's Helen, this is Nick, and this is our robot Humphrey. To the uninitiated, it's got all sorts of goodies, and as they say, watch out, there's a Humphrey about.
The drive basically is 2 gearboxes made from lawnmowers. They've got 2 24-volt motors and these 2 wheelbarrow wheels. It's got a turning circle of 0. It'll do a top speed of about 6 miles an hour, and this has lifted a car up by the dent there. But watch out, it's got a very nasty sting in the tail.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Steel Avenger from Suffolk. John Willoughby there, the controls on the left, Wild Thing. The controls, Nick Adams, Isabel and Jake. And there, Humphrey, new to Robot Wars, Mick Kirford at the controls.
2, 1, activate.
Wild Thing, the seated robot, quick to manoeuvre, now comes back on the attack, can get up to 8 miles an hour. It's not the heaviest of these 3. Quite the opposite, in fact. Now a little nudge tentative on Humphrey. There's the Steel Avenger. Big, burly, somewhat cumbersome. I wonder if those side panels are also prone to attack. They look a little bit suspect. Polycarbonate, aluminium and steel shell. That's Wild Thing dancing between the 2. You see there, the Steel Avenger slow to turn. The Wild Thing has the speed advantage over these 2 opponents. Now attacking the Steel Avenger again and into the CPZ, which means Matilda can come out, but the Wild Thing followed up, which means also that Matilda can have another Wild Thing. That's the Steel Avenger, almost toppled. But the Wild Thing followed into the CPZ there, which meant the Matilda could attack right on the fringe of the corner patrol zone. So not great controlled aggression from the Wild Thing, but the Steel Avenger is in major trouble. The old Feather Duster looks a little bit flimsy, doesn't it? Oh, I think Matilda has shaken her tail feathers, and off comes the Duster. Yeah, there, look at that. Well, they had this little sort of peacock's plume at the back, no longer. And I wonder if Humphrey's going to take any part any longer. It seemed to me that Humphrey was immobilised. This is the Wild Thing chasing down the Steel Avenger here. Steel Avenger getting away. I think that oh no, they're okay. Humphrey's okay. Just about. Or are they? We'll have to wait and see. Wild Thing on the attack on the Steel Avenger. It really has been the tail of the tape so far. Humphrey moving belatedly. Oh, straight into the claws of Dead Metal after all that. Matilda, little tusk on Wild Thing. If it goes to the judges, Wild Thing have done enough. I don't think it'll go to the judges because Humphrey, they've gone, haven't they? This is Dead Metal trying to slice down through the shell of Humphrey, and the newcomers haven't lasted long. Mick Kerfoot, a staff nurse for an intensive care unit, and I'm afraid Humphrey's going to go back to the robotic unit for some quick repairs. Crunch! Oh, crumple, slice. Mick is going to take more than a plaster to mend, I'm afraid, your robot Humphrey. Onto the arena flipper, carefully placed. This is the Steel Avenger, being dragged by Killalot and pushed by Wild Thing. There's the Sir Killalot camera looking out. Onto his house robot teammate, Dead Metal, and there's the flipper, throwing Humphrey through the air. Away they go, crashing down. There's all the warning signs underneath. And the warning we will flash to Humphrey next time around. Bring a better robot. You are about to be decimated and totally destroyed by Sir Killalot. Brave newcomers fall at the first hurdle, which leaves Wild Thing and the Steel Avenger going through, of course.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Reactor, young Daniel Orton, 12 from the Stonehill High School. And Wild Thing, Isabel, who's 14, and Jake, 12, go to the Ash Manor School in Aldershot.
2, 1.
Wild Thing quickly out to attack the Reactor, as we thought they would be, trying to nudge in underneath Reactor. A ground clearance of 5mm only on Reactor, but that's the Achilles heel. Wild Thing attacking the rear of Reactor and dumping it onto the arena sidewall, showing good style immediately. Nick Adams at the controls. Isabel controls the weapon of Wild Thing. Jake Adams, the tactician, or sometimes a weapon operator as well. Another nudge this time on Reactor. Reactor, though, they put those studs there. You see the screws and the wheels getting very little traction on the arena floor, and out comes Dead Metal trying to grasp hold of Reactor. A little bit like soap in the shower. Throw your hands and away. I wonder if Dead Metal will have another chance. I wonder if Reactor will get a chance here to attack Wild Thing. Wild Thing doing all the aggressive work so far. Should it go to the judges in the end? Well, it doesn't look as if it will do at the moment, because Wild Thing very much on the attack. This time Reactor getting away from Sergeant Bash. Look, this is a very, very noticeable tactic from Wild Thing. Attack Reactor from the rear. Oh! The wheels are crumpled and ruptured by Sir Killalot. Those claws can lift over 100 kilos, sliced through armour plating. Dead Metal on the attack as well. Reactor trundles back to the safety of the arena. That's where they need to stay, and I wonder if this stage, Russell Orton, young Daniel and Martin Crouch are just thinking that let's stay out of trouble and live to fight another day, because Wild Thing very much on top here. Can Wild Thing finish Reactor off, though? And I'll tell you what, Sir Chromalot and the Steel Avenger will be looking on here, because if Wild Thing cannot finish Reactor off, they will have high hopes for later on. But it looks very much as if the Wild Thing will progress to the later stages, because look at Reactor now. A little bit of movement, but nothing more. Just backing away. Wild Thing on the attack again, this time a broadside. Turns to attack the rear once again, and look at that shot from Wild Thing. So much power generated by the two electrical industrial motors, and again a slam on Reactor. Caught on the fringe of the CPZ. Again, Dead Metal has a go. A shunt from Wild Thing. Classic Robot Wars wedge shape. Dead Metal pushes Reactor away. Surely there can't be long left. Wild Thing anticipates victory. Very, very near the flames. Dangerously so, like a maddened moth. In comes Dead Metal with the circular saw. Now that's noticeable. Can't actually make much impact on Reactor's shell. Steel and aluminium as it is. So Reactor, had it been quicker and more punishing on attack, might have gone further. I think it's going to go to the judges, and Wild Thing have failed to finish Reactor off. It will go to the judges. For me, there can be only one winner. The Wild Thing will be disappointed with the way it ended.
Well, both robots were still moving at the end, so we've gone for a judge's decision. But whilst they make a decision, let's look at some of the highlights of that bruising encounter.
Right from the word go, Wild Thing went on the attack. That was the slam onto the arena sidewall. Now, I don't know whether or not that affected Reactor, whether any of the machinery came apart inside. They didn't have great power. Wild Thing into the CPZ, driving Reactor into the House Robots. And again, look at the power of that shove. But you have to wonder about Wild Thing's weaponry, because all the damage to Reactor was caused by the House Robots. Wild Thing, for me, by far the most impressive of the two robots, but didn't finish off the newcomers, Reactor.
Well, the judges have made a decision. Remember, it's style, control, aggression and damage. And they've gone for... You're nervous. You're nervous. They've gone for Wild Thing!
The Steel Avenger, knocked out in the second round of the Series 3 by Diotor. Wild Thing, though, reached the semi-finals in Series 3 before being beaten by Panic Attack. Family team.
2, 1. Activate.
Wild Thing from the right. The Steel Avenger slower to start. Wild Thing quickly across the arena floor again. Look at that little lance on the front of the lifting arm to prod and skewer the side panels of the Steel Avenger. On the attack again. Those cones on the side of the Steel Avenger act as self-righting mechanisms. An innovation from the Suffolk team for this series. The axe tentatively rocked in its cradle. Wild Thing getting away from Sir Kill-a-Lot. We've seen great driving from Nick Adams in this heat in the Wild Thing team. There's John Willoughby, the driver of the Steel Avenger team. Oh, and down comes the mighty weapon. Kevin Cockrell's at the control of that weapon. The mechanical expert is Tony Bentz, warehouse operative. And slamming against the House Robot on the arena wall went the Steel Avenger. Wild Thing nudging underneath the Avenger. Got a ground clearance of a couple of inches. Now that is quite high for robot wars, actually. The Wild Thing's ground clearance, minimal. At the front, nothing at all there. The wedge shape against a more old-fashioned sort of a chassis for the Steel Avenger. Onto the flame pit. Wild Thing side on. I wonder also if those conical little stream mechanisms are acting as a protection. Let's see if they can right the Steel Avenger, having been toppled by the Wild Thing's thrust. They said the little cones could right the Steel Avenger. Well, we'll see, because now they're in major trouble. They can't right the Steel Avenger. The right side cone flicks out. There's nothing on the left. The axe can't lift the Steel Avenger. Wild Thing waits to see if they've won the heat. Sir Kill-a-Lot comes in. I thought all along those side panels could be ripped away. I thought that would be the weak thing on the Steel Avenger. That's the way it's proven. There's the pit descending. They've come a long way via Humphrey, via Sir Chromalot. They've been great fun, the Steel Avenger team, but it ends here and now for them. Wild Thing gives the last shove, allowed to do so by the House Robots. And Wild Thing have won Heat M.
Roboteers, stand by.
This is Wild Thing then, with Nick Adams, who owns a remote control model shop, daughter Isabel, son Jake, an exterminator from Hereford, Marlon Pritchard, Paul Lewis and Simon Baldwin.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Wild Thing play hoopla with Exterminator. You can see the extra hoop on top, and there's the flipper trying to get in underneath Wild Thing, but at the moment, Exterminator using his power instead. And look at that, very little traction on the wheels of Wild Thing, and that was sheer brute power from Exterminator, pushing Wild Thing into the CPZ immediately. And I think that was the breastplate, it was, and Killalot's come off there in the CPZ as Wild Thing just squeezed away, it caught Killalot's breastplate and pulled it off. So now we see a nude Killalot, which is certainly new for Robot Wars. Don't get too excited. Exterminator locked onto the arena sidewall, needs to get out from there, does so, slowly, surely. Wild Thing turns lurid red, flames painted on its body shell there. Well, it left itself a wee bit vulnerable on the attack to Exterminator's flipper. This is a very even contest as we thought it might be. Exterminator starting the strong with that hugely powerful push. Can get up to 25 miles an hour, Exterminator too. Wild Thing now, though, you see, back on the attack, and Exterminator's in the CPZ, and Wild Thing spins and gets it away. Seems to have more manoeuvrability across the arena floor, and worrying times here for Exterminator too. They need to get up and away. The flipper's still working, the light's still blinking. Wild Thing's eyes are flashing. They come in again for another broadside attack, this time trying to nudge Exterminator into a further CPZ. For me, if this one goes to the judges, Wild Thing are just getting on top now. Clever driving as well by Nick Adams, using the broadside approach onto Exterminator into the CPZ, and now Dead Metal, look at that! Oh dear! Hot knife through butter! Slicing through Exterminator 2's aluminium shell very, very easily. Exterminator getting it away, but Wild Thing once more on a drive, this time using the wedge check to get in underneath. Exterminator got a ground clearance of 15 millimetres. Exterminator, that was too vulnerable coming into a semi-final, and they're toppled. And that's it, I would imagine, now for Exterminator. They can self-right because of the flipper, but I don't think they're going to. They also have self-righting arms on either side, and I think you'll see the arms are bent. You can see the arms are bent there. Also, the hoop they added for self-righting ease has not worked. It's all over for Exterminator, I'm afraid. The arms are bent and buckled. Oh, in comes Dead Metal with a real slam. Look, they're trying to get the flipper just to nudge Dead Metal away. It's not going to work, though. And we hope perhaps that Exterminator can live to fight another day. They were knocked out in Series 3 by Panic Attack in the heat final. This time they've made the semi-final, but no more for Exterminator. The Herefordshire boys are on their way out. Marlon Paul and Simon Baldwin, and it's the Adams family who will march on. There go, Exterminator, out of the semi-final.
6. Roboteers, stand by.
Can anything withstand the brutal weapon of Hypnodisc? Dad Ken, father of the twins, Dave and Derek Rose, and Wild Thing Nick Adams. The driver, Isabel, his daughter, is the weapons operator. Ooh, Grimace too.
1.
Hannah School in Aldershot, Isabel and Jake. They really fancy this one. And why have they got the lifting arm raised so high? No, in on the attack, the Wild Thing underneath Hypnodisc. So that's a promising start. A little bit of a spin, fronting up against Hypnodisc again. Is that wise, I wonder? Oh! And immediately sent spinning away. Look at this. Bang and crash. Like a spinning top out there, but balanced on that little rear wheel. And again, trying to use the wedge to flip Hypnodisc up and over. That really is the only tactic they can have, I would imagine, Wild Thing. A bumping, buffeting effect off Hypnodisc. Hypnodisc with a 1.5 inch ground clearance. So if they can use that wedge and get it underneath, it'll be interesting. A bang and a crash. Wild Thing turns away, still under controls. Nick Adams, a fine driver. Oh, but look at the damage sustained there on the side. Really bent and buckled, Wild Thing. And now wobbling and hobbling somewhat. And now crumpled and dented. And Hypnodisc senses that victory and a place in the series final is just around the corner. And poor old Wild Thing have done just about everything they could. A shard of metal went flying across the arena then. Look at it, it really is damaged. Not Hypnodisc, but Wild Thing, of course. One of the tyres totally crumpled, running awkwardly, but driving it so bravely back into the claws of Dead Metal. Could this yet provide a huge upset? Wild Thing, Nick and Isabel Adams, and young Jake, so brave. Hypnodisc gets away, comes on another charge. Was it just me, or was that disc spinning a little bit slow? It was just me. Don't worry, Hypnodisc fans. But Wild Thing, how about this? For a battle, they've stopped the disc now. The disc has been stopped. There's the ref bot coming in. Can they immobilise Hypnodisc? The Rose boys try to become a thorny subject for Wild Thing once again. And in the end, it was so brave, and the applause is for that team. So brave as they fought back.
Very close battle. The judges are going to have to make a decision. While they make that decision, let's look at some of the highlights of that fantastic fight.
Early kamikaze charge by Wild Thing, spinning away from Hypnodisc, but they were so brave as they fought back. Again, sustained so much damage, hardly damaged Hypnodisc at all. But the courage and the style and control of Wild Thing's comeback will have taken the judge's eye. This is very close.
The judges have made a decision. It was quite close. But based on the awesome, destructive power of Hypnodisc, they've gone for Hypnodisc!
Please welcome Sean and the Wild Thing team.
They can make our hearts sing with an electric-powered lifting arm and a lance, which can also right this machine when toppled. We call that a Shreemeg, a self-righting mechanism.
Please welcome Vic Reeves and the Dud-e-la-doo team.
Electric-powered motors again here on this robot from Dublin. A zero turning circle is very important. The weapon is a lifting spike arm with added animal heads and food. Run, rabbit, bun, bun, bun.
Roboteers, stand by.
Here's Wild Thing with Sean at the controls. She has to control the robot for a minute, as does Vic Reeves. After the minute, they can give up the controls to one of the experts, if they want. Here we go, then. The object is to immobilise your opponents if you can. Oh, what happened there? I think one of the additions has come off. dud-e-la-doo, there goes the frying pan, there goes the rabbit head, there goes the pancake. Who'll be flattened now for the rest of this battle. Shauna at the controls of Wild Thing. Vic Reeves, of course, with dud-e-la-doo. dud-e-la-doo is on fire! That polka dot design may look natty, but it's flammable, and you don't see too many robots in Robot Wars with a flammable design. And at the moment, the bunnies on top of Wild Thing are hopping.
Oh, your glasses are going. And your phone is gone. Right, I'm pushing.
dud-e-la-doo and Vic have lost their glasses. It's all going wrong for them, and dud-e-la-doo being pushed across the arena floor. Don't forget, you've got the Pit of Oblivion, you've got the CPZ. Once the robot's pushed into there, the house robots can come out to play, like Sergeant Bash at the bottom of your picture, there with the flame torch. And Wild Thing getting into a little bit of trouble there with Sean at the controls. There's Vic still demanding the controls of dud-e-la-doo. And Shauna gets on the controls now to Nick Adams taking over because Wild Thing is in trouble. The bunnies are on fire. In comes Dead Metal.
Don't do me there.
Matilda there with the tusks on Wild Thing. A lick of flame from Sergeant Bash onto dud-e-la-doo. And I wonder if Peter Redmond or Kieran Byrne will take controls of the Dublin machine. Oh, Wild Thing being picked up by Kill-a-Lot. Kill-a-Lot's weapons are actually fashioned from the jaws of life used by emergency services to rescue people, but to cause doom and destruction to robots. Wild Thing is out. Vic Reeves is the winner. Shauna Lowry is out.
From High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire, Arnold Terlinegger.
A box on wheels with red glowing eyes behind dark glasses. The chassis is a steel water tank from the loft. The axe and hammer blows will not be soft.
From London, Fluffy.
The lightest in this mayhem, the slowest too, but the polycarbonate armour is 16 millimetres thick and the weapon is like a double-edged spinning axe. This is no fluffy toy here.
From Ash in Hampshire, Wild Thing.
Fast around the arena at 10 miles an hour on twin electric motors. The new giant cutting disc spins at 6,000 RPM. That's the fastest we've ever seen. Our two house robots thrown in, the fiery tempered Sergeant Bash, the flame will burn, the pincers will twist and turn, and Sir Kill-a-Lot with the lance and those formidable crushing hydraulic jaws.
Roboteers, stand by.
Peter Holroyd, the captain of Fluffy.
3.
The Wild Thing and Arnold Terminator teams in together. Immediately, it's Wild Thing who goes on to the attack. That's Arnold Terminator at the bottom. That's Fluffy getting away from trouble. Now coming on the attack of the Wild Thing and the Addams family. There's Terminator with the flashing eyes, but look at that circular weapon of Wild Thing. It's a new addition here. Down comes the Terminator blade, but no damage really sustained. And Wild Thing locked together there with Fluffy at this moment in time. Peter Holroyd, the captain of Fluffy. And Fluffy is driven onto the arena angle grinder, and in comes Arnold Terminator with its smashing and crashing axe and hammer blows onto the chassis of Fluffy. I don't think it's actually causing much damage, is it? And it's knocked over. Arnold goes over, pushed by the Wild Thing. It's like a great pendulum weapon, backwards and forwards. Is it really controlled aggression, though? By Ian English, wife Steph, daughter Holly. Terminator on the attack again on Wild Thing. To be honest, that circular blade has not been as effective as we thought it might have been. That's nudged the pitch of doom button, the release button. Oh, Terminator very, very close. Meanwhile, I think Fluffy has been immobilised down in the pit. That's where they want Fluffy or Terminator or Wild Thing to go. They're not fussy, let's be honest. There's Fluffy. Well, what was Fluffy? Kill-a-Lot in for a gruesome ending, I'm sure. The spike of Terminator down onto the chassis of Wild Thing, and they turn Wild Thing onto its side. And Arnold Terminator may not look the sleekest of robots, but it's very effective. And turning on one tyre there, Wild Thing, but they cannot self-right, it seems to me. Kill-a-Lot, meanwhile, is toying with Fluffy. Wild Thing comes over, onto its side again, crashes down, will spin away now. And Wild Thing will come onto the attack, motoring up to 10 miles an hour. Very close between the two of them. Don't forget, only one robot will go through to one of our Annihilator finals. Last robot standing. If there are two remaining, it'll go to a judge's decision. Fluffy's out of it, of course, and is on to the arena. Flipper, any second now. 1, 2, 3. Sails through the air, bang and a crash. And down into the pit. They got their wish. Look at that, it was great. Who's our man behind the target in there? Craig, I wonder. I think he's behind the controls. Spinning like a threepenny bit. Oh dear, have I just shown my age? How many of you can remember threepenny bits? Into the pit anyway. I digress. Wild Thing onto the attack. Under Arnold Terminator. A bang and a crash. And look at flame. The house robots want their revenge on anything that's going. There at the controls of Wild Thing, Nick Adams. The Arnold Terminator team captain is Ian English, and it'll go to the judge's decision to decide who goes through. It'll be close for them. They await to see the judges' marks on style control, damage and aggression, Professor Martin Smith, Professor Noel Sharkey, and visual effects designer Matt Irvin. Let's have a look at the highlights. Wild Thing on the aggressive attack. Terminator rolling over. Wild Thing again. Points gained for the Addams family. But Arnold Terminator's resilience, smashing and crashing down on Wild Thing that was battered at the end, may well count in its favour too. Wild Thing just righting itself to live to fight another day. And that was the end of Fluffy. We enjoyed that.
You had that one. You had that one and then you helped them out.
We're trying not to. We're trying to get around so we can hit them some more.
Well, it's gone to the judges now. They've made a decision. Looking at style, control, damage and aggression. And it doesn't really matter. They've gone for Arnold A. Terminator!
From Ash in Hampshire, Wild Thing.
Going extreme with a new giant cutting disc spinning at 6,000 RPM. Also has a SRE mech and is the heavier of the two with a 100 kilo wedge shape, but I don't like the look of the tyres.
Hi, I'm Nick Adams, and this is my son Jake, and this is our robot Wild Thing. It's really wild this year with a fantastic spinning disc, and it's going to take out all the opposition, no problem.
From Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, Dominator 2.
A unique bi-wedge shape, 12 kilo slam from the pneumatic axe. It has a plasma nitride coated titanium shell, which means it's very tough, apparently.
Hi, we're Team Dominator. We've got Elliot Smart, Chris Hall, myself, Pete Halloway, and not forgetting the star of the show, Dominator.
Roboteers, stand by.
Peter Halloway at the controls of Dominator 2 and Nick Adams, of course, with the Wild Thing family. Dead Metal, one of our two house robots with a 3,000 RPM saw. And alongside, compatriot Sir Killalot, the petrol-driven engine driving on the crushing claws.
3.
This for a place in the All-Stars quarter-final lineup. Dominator 2 with the power of that axe coming whacking down, and for the first time really, Wild Thing have got that new spinning disc to work. You can just see the jut blades there onto the plasma nitride coated titanium shell. There are the controls of Dominator 2, Peter Halloway, a development engineer by trade. He's developed a fine engine out there with the bi shape, and as long as it goes side by side with Wild Thing, it'll dodge that flywheel mechanism. Also, Wild Thing has the side spikes. You can just see them there, which can help if it needs self-righting. Dominator 2 slowly turning. I think what they're trying to do here is get a side-on attack as well there to get the axe down on the wheels. The wheels of Wild Thing are vulnerable. I thought they might be. But meanwhile, Wild Thing back on the attack. Oh, and there seems to have been some damage there on one of the wheels of Dominator 2. It's the right wheel now. It looks to be tattered. So that weaponry of Wild Thing has caused damage to Dominator 2. Who will be left standing at the end of this one? Suddenly, Dominator 2 is on the defensive and Wild Thing is doing all the work. Coming in again, look, to attack that wheel and the other wheel too. Wild Thing's giant cutting disc, 12 kilos of weight, 2 blades, 6,000 RPM, spinning dangerously, spinning madly, spinning with venom. But Dominator 2, progressive now, getting it underneath Wild Thing, a bit of reverse gear, then turns away, onto the arena sidewalk, down comes the axe. Peter is driving machine, Chris Hall is the robot weapons operator, an electric engineer by trade. Nick Adams, of course, is at the control of Wild Thing. He loves his electric guitar. At the moment, he's strumming a mean tune with the Wild Thing. Where's he going now, though? Way across the arena. Both robots have sustained damage, that's for sure, but both are still in there. Tigerish at the end. One robot to go through the quarterfinals, even if the judges will have to decide. The crowd won't like a decision one way or the other. A little bit of smoke coming out there. We're into the last 10 seconds. Which robot has sustained the most damage? Which has been the more aggressive? Because I feel sure, and indeed it will now, go to a judge's decision between Wild Thing and Dominator 2. And our 3 judges marking on style, control, damage, aggression. Let's see if we can find some pointers. Dominator 2, the more aggressive, but now look, missing its target with the axe. Wild Thing, meanwhile, was steadily, side by side, grinding away damage and mounting up the points. I don't know, because Dominator 2 was on the aggressive again, and bang, Wild Thing against the arena sidewalk. Look at that, that was a wasted attack. And another, that'll count against it. Poor control, poor style. I think they've made their decision. They have. It's agreed. It's Wild Thing!
Roboteers, stand
Firestorm team. Graham Bone at the controls, Alex Mordew and Hazel Heslop there as well. And Wild Thing, the Adams family. Leader, Nick Adams, daughter Isabel, son Jake. Dead Metal is one of our house robots here. Synergy of weapons, the strength. Alongside, once again, Shunt can push just about anything. Two classic wedge-shaped robots here. Firestorm's fur, by the way, is a lucky talisman supplied by the Diotor team from Ireland. Very popular in the pits at the moment. It's a fur brain scheme because the fur is being peeled off by Dead Metal. It's on the chase now, but Wild Thing gets in from behind. I wonder if that fur will get tangled up in Wild Thing's circular weaponry. 12 kilos of weight behind that weapon. 2 cutting blades spinning at 6,000 RPM top speed. The side spikes as well. Underneath, though, Wild Thing goes Firestorm with the little flipper. But there you see the Wild Thing Streamek, the Streamek arm. So therefore negating Firestorm's flipper. This is a much improved Wild Thing in this series of Extreme, I must say. Making a much better fist of it. Semi-finalists in Series 3 and Series 4. Bags of experience then. Both these teams, actually. Wild Thing, a more aggressive side-on attack. And that's good defensive work by Firestorm. They're preventing Wild Thing getting in behind, and Wild Thing into the side arena. And that means Dead Metal can come in there. Dead Metal's own great saw. There's Shunt. And Wild Thing is a risk here from Dead Metal on the left, Shunt on the right-hand side. Getting away from the pincers, but only just, as there'd been damage to the weapon. Let's see if the weapon's working. A light flickers on there. Wild Thing's always had lurid paintwork. There's one eye working anyway, twinkling red. But I can't see the saw going round the circular blade. I don't think that's working at the moment. And Firestorm sensed that. I wonder if it's changed things. It has! Wild Thing suddenly on the defensive. This whole battle has been turned on its head. Firestorm with a great chance now. Wild Thing trying to self-right. And the self-righting arm has actually pinned it immobile on the arena floor. And they are going to be counted out, Wild Thing. The big release button has been activated. And Wild Thing, totally in command, have been beaten. Well, that is a major turnabout. I couldn't see that happening, not halfway through that battle. Oh, Wild Thing, you used to make the heart sing, but no more. Into the pit. And Firestorm coming in on the attack. What on earth was that about? They're already through to the semi-finals. They don't need to risk themselves. And I don't think the house robots are going to like that. No, Shunt, look. Trying to axe the CO2 canister. Firestorm crazy. What on earth are they doing? And they're still involved, look. After the cease, they want to rumble. This was madness, but great fun. Great courage. A little bit crazy.
From Ash in Hampshire, Wild Thing.
Twice a semi-finalist in Robot Wars, now going extreme with a new giant cutting disc spinning at 6,000 RPM. Also has a Streamek and is the heavier of the two at 100 kilos.
Hi, we're the Wild Thing team, and I'm Isabel. This is
Jake
and
Nick.
We've been here before, and we've upgraded the robot so we now have a spinner disc, and we aim to win.
From Huntingdon, Tornado.
A semi-finalist in Robot Wars 4. It's a nippy, welded steel box on wheels with a vertically mounted spinning disc and the ability to run both ways up. Yes, Tornado can put the wind up anyone.
Hi, my name's Andrew Marchant. This is Brian Moss. This is David Gamble. We are Team Tornado. Remember how we pushed all the other robots around last year? Well, we're going to do the same this year. And this year we have this. Everybody beware.
So, beware those venomous cutting spinning discs, our two house robots. Matilda first up with the flywheel herself, 27 kilos, heavy, powerful. And And alongside her, the trusty Knight of the Realms, Sir Killalot.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Don't forget, Tornado has 2 Challenge Belt victories. Another one here against Wild Thing, and they would keep the belts outright. Battle here between 2 spinning discs. That on top of Wild Thing is the fastest we've seen. Uses 6,000 revs per minute, but the more destructive early on is Tornado's at the front there, and certainly with a thrust again, Tornado. Up to 10 miles an hour top speeds, using 97 kilos of slam against the arena sidewall and the angle grind there. You can still see the spinning disc on top of Wild Thing rotating. It's got the lifting arm as well, and Tornado's a little nagger. It nags and worries opposition. We've seen it so far in Extreme. Very impressive, the Tornado boys. Andrew Marchant just caught a glimpse there of Brian Moss from behind with the long hair. Now can you see that front spinning disc, the cutting disc on Tornado, trying to gnaw away at Wild Thing? And look at the damage on the side of Wild Thing there. There's a hole also at the back just above the wheel. And certainly Nick Adams at the control of Wild Thing looked concerned, didn't he? Brave to challenge here. The impressive Tornado. Into the CPZ they go. Wild Thing out and about once again. They too can muster top speeds of 10 miles an hour. On the side there of that spinning disc, 2 cutting blades to wreak destruction, Wild Thing. But in comes Killalot. Steam is vented on the arena floor. You can also see the rear spike there at the back of the arm, Wild Thing. So plenty of weaponry, but at the moment not causing too much destruction. They simply can't get a Tornado, and something's come off the side there of Wild Thing. Some of the armour plating has flown off a Wild Thing. That leaves the wheel vulnerable as well. Look at that, you can see it simply cut away. That again is that Tornado disc at the front, and Killalot also has Wild Thing pinned in now. Well, the eyes at the moment staring, but staring defeat in the face, Wild Thing. Tornado gets in underneath, and I don't know whether Wild Thing can right themselves. They can, using the arm well. It doubles as a streamek as well, as a lifting weapon. The pit descends. Tornado getting away from Wild Thing, sensing perhaps 1 or 2 more frontal assaults on the Adams family. Will leave Wild Thing down in a pit. Killalot's claw trying to gain purchase on, I think, that cutting disc. In on the side, can't tear, can grip but not crumple. Killalot is vast, massive, heavy, foreboding, ominous. Look at the horrible, evil twinkle in the eyes. Refbot comes in with just a little bit of a look. Tornado's done all the work here, and is heading, I think, to take that belt back into the trophy cabinet unless Nick Adams can do something very, very quick. They certainly are coming back here, Wild Thing, and the judges will be impressed with the tenacity of the thing if it goes to a decision. Killalot a little nip, a little bend and a buckle. Still Wild Thing on the attack again. Tornado, therefore, pushed back towards Killalot. That is dangerous. And Tornado and Andrew Marchant has left Tornado vulnerable there to Killalot. They just got away. They were fortunate. That wasn't great driving skill there by Andrew on the left-hand side. Look at the concentration. Nick Adams, bead of perspiration on the brow. But it's been a dogged battle. One of the wheels looks very, very buckled. It will go to the judges. That was a splendid contest of durability, I felt. Well done, the Tornado boys and Nick and his team.
Well, Wild Thing worthy challengers, but we're going to have to go to the judges. Have they done enough to wrestle the belt from Tornado's grasp? It's up to them. The judges have made their decision. You know the criteria: style, control, damage, and aggression. Now, they said it was very, very close, but they've gone winners on aggression are Tornadoes!
From Ash, Wild Thing.
It's basically a two-wheel drive go-kart, wedge-shaped with a SRI-mech and a giant 6,000 RPM 12-kilo cutting disc, twice a series semi-finalist. Wild Thing, we may love you.
From Harbour, Trouble and Strife.
I like the CO2-powered flipper combined with a 20-kilo 1,000 RPM disc and the 4 modified starter motors powering a solid machine. I don't like the sluggish turning circle.
Roboteers, stand by.
Wild Thing and the Addams family, Nick, Dad, Isabel 14 and Jake who's 12, and Trouble and Strife, Peter Forsey, Jake his son and Mike Stokes. In the arena for the house robots, Matilda with a flywheel and the tusks. And if that's not gruesome enough, we have Shunt in there as well with the diamond-edged axe and the scoop.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Wild Thing, heavier, faster, more experienced. You can see its red cutting disc, and if you look carefully, the green spinning disc of Trouble and Strife set lower on the machine. And if you look carefully as well, you can see some damage, I think, already caused to the armour of Trouble and Strife. Just a few scratches and dents. Wild Thing doing all the aggressive work. There's the front flipper of Trouble and Strife, powered by the 2-kilo CO2 cylinder. There are controls of Wild Thing. Nick Adams loves his radio, model car racing, and he loves his Wild Thing machine. Oh! For a minute there, I thought it was going to topple over. Has its own SRI-mech, would have been all right, Wild Thing, but this is a struggle here for the experienced Wild Thing machine. Look at this. Went on the attack, was flipped. The spike actually balanced the machine, and down they came, but a little bit of problem there for the wheel hub. Just bent and buckled, and should this go to the judges, that will count against Wild Thing. They've got a problem there, they're not running freely, and that wheel looks badly buckled. Wild Thing is in a real survival battle here now. Semi-finalists in the 3rd series of Robot Wars, and the 4th. But here against newcomers, Trouble and Strife, in real trouble themselves, doing the pressing, doing the aggressive work, but they need now a KO, I think. Otherwise, Trouble and Strife could yet put the Addams family out. Almost edge into the CPZ there. Matilda, of course, awaits with the heavy flywheel. We've seen it cause so much damage in past Robot Wars. Certainly Trouble and Strife around the rear is damaged, and they were pushed in there to the CPZ and taking pressure and punishment from Shunt. That's a good drive by Wild Thing. I think Trouble and Strife will just survive and go to a referee's decision. It's going to be very, very close, and they've taken severe damage late on.
Well. That is definitely one for the judges. Wild Thing seeded 9. Could there be a turn up for the books here? The judges will be looking at style, control, damage, and aggression.
While our 3 wise heads tot up the points, let's have a look at the highlights. Wild Thing on the attack early on, but then suffered damage to the wheel in this attack, which nearly saw them toppled, and there you can see the wheel hub nearly ripped off. It was wobbly from then on in Wild Thing. Came back into it doing a lot of pushing, and damage was caused to Trouble and Strife very late on by Shunt in that CPZ.
The judges have made their decision. It's really tense here, isn't it? You can cut the tension with a knife. Do you think you got it? What do you think, Jake? Do you think you got it now? No. Not sure? The judges have made their decision. The knife seeds have scraped through. Wild Thing are the winners.
Roboteers, stand by.
Wild Thing improved. Looked it too for Nick Adams, daughter Isabel and son Jake. Against David Crosby, Vicky Organ and Michelle Davey, and the Napalm Machine. There it is. Very slow in victory against Warhog. House robots will pick up anything loose, anything vulnerable, dead metal with the pincer and the saw. And Shunt back again and hungry for more metal mayhem.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Wild Thing First out of the traps, slamming straight into Napalm. 100 kilos, both machines. Napalm stopped in its tracks. Need to see some movement from Napalm. Wild Thing here. That disc does look very potent. Crumpling in on the side of Napalm and the titanium hull. And Napalm is going nowhere, very, very fast. Again, Wild Thing attacking. The bang of Napalm drops slowly, ponderously. Catches onto Wild Thing, onto the arm that they use as a streamer. Vicky, who loves her computer programming, trying to program a response from Napalm. Nothing coming so far from the team from New Ash Green. There goes the pit release button, activated by Wild Thing. And now they're shaping for a push here. Push and shove Napalm all the way. Veering out towards the arena side wall, dodging the pit momentarily, but not for long. And that was on the guards from the word activate, disappearing in a cloud of steam.
Roboteers, stand by.
In the arena for the House Robots, the Invincible Sir Kill-a-Lot, heavy, crushing, dangerous. And Shunt, tigerish, dominating, dastardly.
3, 2, 1, activate.
They may not have anything up their sleeve, but Prize Fighter hardly harmless. And they come forward now and immediately go on the attack on Wild Thing. Oh, Wild Thing got dangerously broadside on, and that's where a flipper can be its most destructive. Wild Thing, of course, here have the spinning disc, which can cause real mayhem to Armory. But Prize Fighter and the Alcott boys, and there we can see Bill Morse, their great pals, seem to be okay withstanding that attack of Wild Thing, which still seems to be wobbly on the tyres and now flipped over. Prize Fighter dodging, dancing around the ring and waited for the opportunity to get that jab in. Good boxing in the Robot Wars arena. Wild Thing now is seeing stars. Has to get back into the fight and quickly. Flicked again. And once more. Now you need to get out of that CPZ, Prize Fighter. Wild Thing in trouble, but Prize Fighter opening itself up there momentarily for an attack by a House Robot, but he's in underneath Wild Thing again. Prize Fighter knocked out in the first round of Robot Wars 3 and Robot Wars 4. Wild Thing twice a series semi-finalist, but I don't think we'll be going through to the series semi-finals this time around. The wheel wobbles on top, underneath the wheel, churns and turns and tries to get some purchase on the arena floor to flip Wild Thing up and over. It's not going to happen. Prize Fighter releasing the pit of doom. Wild Thing crashes down. Time is running out for you, Nick Adams. And daughter Isabel, who controls the streamer, with Jake, who also has a hand on the spinning disc. They've got to push Prize Fighter towards the pit. Wild Thing, can they come back in? Prize Fighter digging in. Put the old brakes on there rather sharpish, didn't they? Tuck in and save themselves. And Nick Adams nearly pulled it out of the fire there. May yet do so. One tactic, push Prize Fighter towards the pit. There will be irony in there because Prize Fighter activated the pit release. What a good battle this has been. A fitting heat final. Tremendous stuff for a place in the series. Semi-finals later on, of course. Wild Thing, as the seconds tick down, tries to push Prize Fighter into an angle grinder. Gonna go to the judges. Very, very close. Prize Fighter dominant early on. The Wild Thing fighting back well. Terrific stuff. Look at this. Prize Fighter turning Wild Thing almost over. The highlights of a very good battle. Wild Thing flipped once and twice. Righted itself. Needed to again there. Good work here. Steering, control, style by Prize Fighter. Mistake. Press the pit release button, thinking Wild Thing were out of it. They weren't. They came back in. Good control here by Nick Adams, and they very nearly turned the fight at the end. Oh, judges, I wouldn't like to be in your shoes. You have a difficult job to do here. I can't pick them.
Guys, this is for a place in the semi-finals. Hey, you're right. Tension, tension, tension. You remember the look of it? Style, control, damage, and aggression.
They've gone for Wild Thing!
Roboteers, stand by.
At the controls of Chaos 2, George Francis has only failed to make the series final once in 4 attempts. Wild Thing, the Addams Family, Nick, Isabel and Jake. In the arena for the House Robots, key factor for Dead Metal, the weapon synergy between pincer and saw. Key factor for Shunt in the arena, it hates everything that moves.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Good old battle this, eh? Chaos, nifty, as I said, quicker than Wild Thing. Flipping Wild Thing. In underneath. Wild Thing technically with a 0 ground clearance. That doesn't really matter. Again, our poor old pit release. Tyres come off the arena sidewall. Chaos 2's flipped over. Can right, of course, using that hugely powerful CO2 front flipper at the Shriemek. Wild Thing topple once again. This is furious, fast, frenetic action in the Robot Wars semi-final arena. They turn, they twist, they manoeuvre. The buzzer sounds. That means the pit is descending quickly. They have to avoid it here. George Francis to the controls of Chaos 2. Dancing the dance with Wild Thing's Nick Adams, dad to Isabel. And Jake Adams, who've grown up around the Robot Wars arena. Wild Thing under pressure. Semi-finalists in Series 3, beaten by Panic Attack. Semi-finalists in Series 4, beaten by Hypnotist. Semi-finalists in Series 5. Will they be beaten by Chaos 2? Oh, almost turning turtle. But Nick Adams can bring Wild Thing back onto the attack. They slam, they crash. Sparks fly. It's brilliant control. Wild Thing very nearly had Chaos 2 in the pit. Look at that, right on the lip. And George Francis dug in. And the motors burn. And Chaos 2 pushed back. Just surviving George Francis. In comes Dead Metal, in comes Shunt. Slamming down there onto the top of Wild Thing, almost lost underneath the House Robots. Chaos 2 with the flipper wedged in underneath. Wild Thing, moments ago on the verge of victory, now fighting for survival perhaps. Chaos 2 once again bumping and barging. Wild Thing is tossed, will self-right, levering itself up on that arm. Tries to get the 6,000 RPM spinning disc into action. They are still here, courageously fighting back, and Chaos 2 again, toppled onto its side. How did they stay out? How on earth did they survive another onslaught? Look at this. Surely they must go into the pit of oblivion. And George Francis breathes again and lives another Robot Wars life. The clock is ticking down on one of the most bruising and thrilling Robot Wars battles I can ever remember. Fantastic.
What an amazing battle! I wouldn't like to call it. We're going to have to go to the judges while they're making up their minds. Let's review the highlights of that amazing fight.
Where do you start with the highlights? A flip from Chaos 2 and again onto the arena sidewall and again. Wild Thing, no, you've got no chance on the evidence of this. Topple, twisted and turned, but look at that! Chaos 2 twice surviving the pit. Who has won this? I'm glad I don't have to decide.
The judges have made their decision. Now, you know what they're looking at. They're looking at style, control, damage, and aggression. The one thing I'm surprised about is it's a unanimous decision. And it's gone. It's a Chaos 2! What'd you say?
Never mind.
I don't know how that was unanimous. They flipped you over, they flipped you over, they flipped you over. They couldn't get you out of the arena. And then, twice, it looked like you'd got them in the pit. And one time, the second time, it looked like, because you thought they were in the pit, you kind of backed off, didn't you?
Backed off because we thought they were falling in.
Because the pyro went, and you thought they were in the pit, and somehow, miraculously, they kind of... They drove back out. Wasn't that the best fight you've ever been in?
Well, from up here, it was fantastic, and I hope it looks great from the audience, but it was marvellous. A really, really good fight, and it went the whole distance. And we towards the end, I thought we were getting the upper hand, but...
Towards the end, I thought you were the stronger robot.
Yeah,
I thought so. You were starting to push them around.
Yeah.
You were almost getting them into the pit. The flipper had lost its power, so he wasn't using his flipper. He was on the ropes, man. It was survival.
But he really hits about at the beginning. I guess that's when the punches counted.
Yeah, but look, you're not out yet, you know. You've got one more bite of the cherry. You're in the losers' melee. And the winner of that who will go through to the final.
Let's hope so.
My nerves are like this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go for Wild Thing!
Roboteers, stand by.
What will happen here to Spawn again? Darren Ball and Luke Jackman roughed up by Razor in their last battle. Wild Thing beaten by the judges, and Chaos 2 and S3 in the pit by Bigger Brother. Nick Adams at the controls of Wild Thing, Pete Alsop with the S3 controls. Sergeant Bash, uncontrolled, flamethrower and pincers. Totally out of control. Shunt will try and get you totally out of here.
3, 2, 1.
It'll be mayhem. S3 moves from the right-hand side. Spawn again coming in from the left. S3 in the middle at the moment, spinning away, trying to get that hugely powerful, vertically mounted disc into play. On the front of Spawn again. Slicing, bashing. Wild Thing took damage. So did Spawn against front flipper. Previously already damaged by Razor. Well, they're gang up on Wild Thing, it would seem here. Is it a process of elimination? Gang up on one, then take on t'other. Wild Thing squeezes between the two. There we can see Nick Adams at the controls. Chasing down on Spawn again. The S3, 1,000 RPM, 20 kilo, 18-inch diameter, snatch weapon they call it, the spinning blade. Rotating, looking fearsome. Spawn again, momentarily silenced and stilled. Up goes its flipper, down goes the pit, released there. S3 on the charge on Wild Thing. Who's nearest the pit? Wild Thing dances away. What is that next to the pit? Something's come off. S3 on the attack. It's Spawn again being counted out by the ref bot. These two will be left to fight it out then for a place in the next battle. Spawn again, they've been counted out by the ref bot. We're down to 2. Wild Thing and S3, only one to survive. They're in the same control pod. Wild Thing, the aggressor, the more experienced here of the two, I would say. Previous semi-finalists on 2 occasions. S3 has the weaponry. Spawn again has the long way home via the pit, says Sergeant Bash. Down you go. That's the last we'll see this series of Spawn again. And I think the judges will have to decide the winners of S3 and Wild Thing. Who stays in? Who goes out? I don't have to make the decision. The real brains do.
What an amazing battle. Excellent drive, and Spawn again refuses to be born again. Consigned to the pit of oblivion. It's down to the judges on Wild Thing and S3.
S3 got an attack there, and once again Wild Thing took damage from Spawn again and was on the receiving end, but came back strongly to push S3 into the CPZ twice, and then against the arena sidewalk. Certainly for me, Wild Thing the aggressor at the end.
The judges have made a decision. One robot has a tick, the other one has a nasty cross. Now, they've been looking at style, control, damage, and aggression. And on control and style, Wild Thing won. But they said that the damage inflicted by S3 to Wild Thing was so great, they've gone for S3!
Newcastle under Lyme in Staffordshire, the Staff.
Now this one can beetle about.
They may be new, but look at that. It's wondrous. All working bits and everything. What an incredible hat. Look at that. What's your big weapon?
Our big weapon is our crushing claws.
And how much power have they got?
7 ton at the ram.
That's nothing to be sneezed at, is it?
No.
The aluminium shell, homemade speed controllers, hydraulic pincers crushing at those 7 tons, a rear spike. Oh, and don't forget the chicken on the back.
From Clacton on Sea in Essex, Vader.
Ooh, the shape certainly isn't Darth Vader.
Have you got anything special that you need to tell us about here with Vader?
Only our magnificent weapon at the end there, which will cause a lot of damage if we can point it in the right direction.
If I had a penny for every time a bloke said to me I've got a magnificent weapon, I would be rich by now.
Yes, transparent 8mm polycarbonate sheet armour. The spinning disc is mounted vertically and sticks half out of the robot, but it can't self-right.
From Vale of Glamorgan in Wales, UFO.
Out of this world, man. Totally.
Well, a new robot to Robot Wars, UFO. What's special about it? What's that weapon there at the front I can see going on?
It's a big lifty-uppy, spiky thing.
Oh,
designed
wow.
to cut into the bladey thing above it.
Yes.
And we also have a couple of bright, lighty, shiny things at the front and
Yes.
some floppy, spiky things at the back.
Oh, well, you're going to bedazzle them then.
Absolutely. Technology
You're not
RS.
nervous about being up against the seeded wild thing?
Absolutely terrified.
Oh, good. That's what we like.
A compact invertible machine thing with a weapon thing that combines the ability to lift and crush and cut opponent thingies. But the weapon is only really effective when right way out.
From Ash in Hampshire, the number 9 seed, Wild Thing.
Twice series semi-finalists. This is serious, this one.
The stress factors are quite high for our seeded robot ears, aren't they?
Oh yes, very high. Palpitations.
I said to you earlier, do you think you're in with a chance this year? And you laughed.
I did laugh. Well, we're always in with a chance, and there's a lot of luck involved.
Experience, reliability, stamina, strong chassis, fast, manoeuvrable, powerful alloy steel. The cutting disc runs at 1500 RPM, but it's got a high ground clearance and exposed tyres.
Roboteers, stand by.
Let's have a look at the teams in the control pods. On the left there, Paul Rose, the captain of the Vader team, and Wild Thing, Nick and Isabel Adams. On the right-hand side here, the Stag and their captain Terry Martin. On the left, UFO and their captain Peter Withers. In the arena for the House Robot, Sergeant Bash, the front pincers, the flamethrower, Lick of Flame. And there's Sir Killard again with the crushing claws and the lance to penetrate.
3, 2, 1.
This for a place in round 2 of this heat. 2 robots will survive this stage, don't forget. A bit tentative early on. You can see UFO there in the middle. There's the great shove of the Stag Beetle onto the back of Wild Thing. There at the controls of the Stag is Mark Pepper, a technology consultant, driving. You can see there Vader and that vertical spinning wheel once again. Wild Thing, very tenacious and dogged. Wild Thing has proven over the years. Reached the semi-final of its heat in Robot Wars 5. We're seeing there young David Martin in the Stag team, 11 years of age. Wild Thing caught in the pincers there, I think, of the Stag. UFO very tentative, and so too Vader. This is cagey. I think the chicken's come off. Did I see the chicken there? The Stag had come off? Well, I mean, that's it then, isn't it, really? It's powerless now. The Stag picked up by Sir Killard. Sir Killard, don't think, if you've not seen him beforehand, that he's going to topple over when he does that sort of dance. Not so. Now, there we can see 15-year-old Isabel Adams at the control of Wild Thing. Very experienced at Robot Wars with her dad, the Adams family. Wild Thing comes back on the attack. That looks a formidable blade this time around. The pit release has been activated by UFO. In comes Vader. It's beginning now to hot up a little bit. Wild Thing circling to try and get a purchase on Vader. UFO in there as well. The ref bot is counting out the Stag, I think, in the CPZ. There goes the Stag, counted out. Any second, Sir Killard will finally finish it off. I think they've been immobilised too long and counted out. There's the chicken. The Stag's vital weapon. There's Vader on the side wall angle grinder. Wild Thing, though, is taking punishment. Should it go to a judge's decision, it could be decisive. They mark on control, style, damage and aggression. There are the controls of the Stag, Mark Pepper. I was sure they were counted out. Wild Thing on the flame pit. Has Vader's disc stopped spinning? It has! Now what has happened here to the weaponry of Vader? It has stopped spinning. It's 20 kilos in weight. Well, that doesn't matter one jot if it's not working. UFO has prodded and pushed its way through the heat with great effect. The stag, I think, is going to end up not as a stag beetle, but as a dung beetle, really. Oh, UFO, what are you doing? Cease is called just before they went down to the pit. I think the judges will be called on here as well.
The stag definitely go out there in the pit of oblivion, but we're going to have to go to the judges for the rest. They'll be looking at style, control, damage, and aggression.
Craig, let's just have a look at the highlights once again. Damage caused there. The stag wheel came off, or tyre, I should say. Wild Thing causing damage. UFO slammed against the sidewall. Vader looked very strong at this stage. Yeah, that was the end of the stag. Wild Thing taking damage there. UFO looking cagey but controlled. Coming in on the attack of Vader that finished limply. The judges are going to have a hard decision here. UFO pushing the stag in but nearly going in themselves.
The judges have made their decision, and this was not easy. Very close. But the judges have gone for Vader and Wild Thing.
Roboteers, stand by.
What a height then for Adam Clark and 259. Not without reason, though. Nick and Isabel Adams and Wild Thing are seeded 9. In the arena for the House Robots. Dead Metal, spinning madly. And there alongside to fight for us, Matilda, Grizzly, Ugly.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Will the new kid on the block, 259, destroy Wild Thing. Who've been there, done it. Put the logo on the back. 259. Bunching and bruising into Wild Thing, tossing it over and over and over. Look at this. This is determined destructibility from 259. Dog with a bone there. Wild Thing. Can there be any life left after that sort of formidable onslaught? Well, Nick Adams is very experienced. He's a good driver. And he turns Wild Thing away from the blade onto the side of 259 to hold on there. Holding on for grim death, really. Stay away from that spinning flywheel. Oh, has the wheel stopped? Wild Thing got away from that sort of bashing and bruising, and then the spinning wheel seemed to stop. Now, this could be absolutely decisive, because without that wheel, what has 259 got? At the moment, he's running away, to be honest. He's pressed the pit release button, Adam Clark, and now it becomes very cagey, and I wonder who's got the extra thrust and shove. 259 weighs in at 100 kilos, Wild Thing 97. But Wild Thing, piggybacking up on 259, has turned this battle on its head there. I don't know whether it was by design or luck, which is what Nick Adams said they'd need at the start of this show. And certainly 259's weapon being immobilised has played into Wild Thing's favour. Now it becomes a real tug of war. Wild Thing pushes 259 back onto the flame pit. This is real nip and tuck now. Oh, and do you see the belt there, right in the arena centre? That's Adam Clark's weaponry drive belt that's come off. So no wonder that big, old circular disc is no longer spinning, and Nick Adams looks on. Wild Thing has come right back into this after 259's destructive onslaught early on. Now, is Wild Thing still going? Can Adam Clark yet turn this battle, or is his machine finished? I think 259 is immobilised. There's the belt. I think it is finished. Well, this is a major upset. For me, Wild Thing will go through.
What an amazing fight. What a spectacle. It's going to have to go to the judges while they're making up their minds. Let's review the highlights.
No doubt about it, early on, 259. Brilliant. That is so impressive. Huge mark scored. Wild Thing, no way back into the fight on the evidence of that. But here, coming up, is the decisive moment. 259, and that's where the weaponry went. That's where the belt came off, look. And the whole fight turned. There it goes. That effectively was the end of 259.
And the judges have made their decision. It's based on style, control, damage and aggression. However, 259 was immobilised. They've gone for Wild Thing!
Stand by.
So look at the Heat finalists, Paul Rose, Simon Latham and Philip Claythorpe with their Vader machine. And Nick and Isabel Adams. Nick at the controls, Isabel at the weaponry of Wild Thing. The Heat final has Shunt in the arena, representing the House Robots with the bulldozer blade and the axe, and Sir Kill-a-Lot.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Wild Thing with the high-speed vertical cutting disc. Vader with the vertical spinning disc. That comes into play first. Wild Thing, a lot lower. Lighter, 97 kilos, 3 kilos lighter, is the quicker of the two robots, more manoeuvrable across the arena floor to get in to cause damage and away from damage. And Shunt slams down with the diamond-edged axe onto the armament of Vader. Wild Thing clinging on. Isabel Adams at the controls of the weapons. One little tactic they could use. If they can flick Vader, it can't self-right. 1.5 centimetres of ground clearance. I think at the back of Vader, that's its Achilles heel. A real push and shove match developing. Wild Thing coming back onto the attack on Vader. Blade hits blade. Sparks will fly if that continues. Onto the flame pit now. Don't forget, the winner of this through to the series semi-final. And already some tough robots have made it there. Pit, 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 I think they're calling. Are they calling flame pit? Wild Thing has been there before. Is Vader moving here? I think Vader is in trouble. Wild Thing glances, the weaponry is still moving, but there is no forward momentum for Vader, or is there? There's Nick Adams at the control of Wild Thing. Vader is going nowhere fast. Wild Thing trying to cause damage onto the transparent 8mm polycarbonate sheet armament of Vader. There at the controls, Simon Latham of Vader, the new boys to Robot Wars. And they're being taught a lesson here in durability. Down comes the axe of Shunt, and that has wedged the Vader weapon. A decisive blow for the House Robots. They get the speed up again for the weaponry. But it just stopped them absolutely dead in their tracks. The ref bot comes in. Wild Thing has done a lot of good work here, and I think their blade may just have serrated the armament there of Vader. Difficult to see from this angle, but I do think they just got a grip there with a circular saw. Wild Thing has taken damage. You can see the scratches. I don't know how superficial they are. Again, the axe comes down. Wild Thing on top here for me. But it's been a good old battle, hasn't it? Shunt now, pushing Vader. Vader, the meat in the sandwich, not too pleasant a thought. Driven away across the arena floor, onto the floor flipper. You really don't want to do that. Wild Thing giving chase. Very experienced. Hypnotist beat them in the semi-finals of Robot Wars 4. Panic Attack in the semi-finals of Robot Wars 3. There's the pit. You can hear the release alarm button sounding off. Side by side they dance. Cease is called. It goes to the Robot Wars judges' decision.
Lots of pushing and shoving, lots of sticking together. It's too close a call. We're going to have to go to the judges. And while they're making up their minds, let's review the highlights.
We wanted destructibility. Boo-hoo. They stuck like glue. But it was a tactical battle, and Wild Thing, they were aggressive. They took a little bit of damage there, I think. Only superficial. It wasn't the most controlled driving of Wild Thing, but throughout, they were wily. They were pushing Vader with good tactical nous into the CPZs, onto the arena's sidewall weaponry, into the house robots, and that could be the most destructive blow of all.
Well, the judges have made a decision, and it's unanimous. Based on style, control, damage, and aggression. They've gone for the 9th seed, Wild Thing! Nice.
Roboteers, stand by.
So look at the Razor team. Vinny Blood on the left-hand side, Simon Scott next to him, and then Ian Lewis, the captain. And there's the Wild Thing, Adams family, Nick and Isabel. In the arena is Growler for the house robots. Yawning or barking, and Sergeant Bash too.
3, 2, 1, activate.
What a fight, two of my favourite all-time robots. Wild Thing dashing away up to 12 miles an hour top speeds. Razor turning, just trying to get the feel for Wild Thing. And they have them in their grip, and down comes that hydraulic piercer and slices through the armament of Wild Thing. Isabel Adams at the weapons control of Wild Thing. Student, loves her singing, loves her drama and films. This is dramatic stuff out there. Razor, at the weapons control, we just got a glimpse of Simon Scott. Now a full-time robot here, and why not with this machine that is world famous. So is that team, the Razor boys. They now try a push of Wild Thing. Razor 96 kilos, just the lighter of the two. This is grip and grapple stuff out there. And Wild Thing is trying to hold on so that Razor can't get the crushability factor into play. They're also trying to slice with that front cutting disc. There you see it beginning to turn, but they can't get a purchase on Razor. Razor has them within its grip. There are the exposed tyres we talked about earlier. This is very edgy stuff. Who is the more aggressive here? Is Wild Thing pushing? Is Razor dragging? Is the Wild Thing blade, we can hear it there, scraping the metal of Razor, causing any real damage? Is Razor's beak powerful enough to crumple through that Wild Thing armament? It's very close, but the tyre's about to go, and has gone. Punctured by the Razor beak, so the manoeuvrability of Wild Thing severely curtailed. Nick Adams at the controls, a self-employed electronic model supplier by trade. And Wild Thing, not a model finalist at the moment because Razor looks to be halting its progress at this, the series semi-final stage. Can Wild Thing yet come back into it? Because I think that damage to the tyre could be decisive if it goes to the judges. Not great control or style by Wild Thing onto the flame pit, bumping away. If it is beaten here by Razor, it gets another chance in the semi-final. It goes into the loser's melee. But I just wonder whether it's sustained too much significant damage here, Wild Thing, from Razor. It wasn't the most emphatic Razor performance we've seen, but it was steady enough, grisly in determination, and almost inexorably, Wild Thing was pushed, shoved, clawed, beaked towards defeat and the bitter doom. Razor certainly through to round two. You'll get another chance in the loser's melee. And there the pirouette, of course.
Roboteers, stand by.
In the arena for the house robots, a Kill-A-Lot, ready to trundle and rumble, and Dead Metal.
3, 2, 1.
Brilliant sportsmanship from the rest of the Roboteers to put Wild Thing back together again as Dan Tom Gear The missing link now return, comes in, vents off a little bit of steam and immediately is on the attack and looking much more impressive, taking on 13 Black. One of those discs repaired with a little bit of sticky tape, it would seem. Dan Tomkier very much on the prowl, smashing onto 13 Black. Looking to come again. Wild Thing being thrust away. Looking the lightweight of these machines, Wild Thing, at the moment. Reached the first round of the semi-final in Series 5. 13 Black, meanwhile, takes a terrific pounding there. And Wild Thing, they're being crumpled and munched by Dead Metal. I think Wild Thing's totally out of it, but Dan Tomkier played a major part with that shove on 13 Black. Then the flick. Down it came with a crunch. Wild Thing then drove itself onto the flipper of Dan Tomkier, and in came Dead Metal, and the sparks flew. The blade is turning, but there's no one at home, Wild Thing. 13 Black, I think, is at its end as well. Dan Tomkier trying to... Oh! Wild Thing is driven straight into the pit. Dan Tomkier just pressed the release button. Wild Thing unawares drove themselves onto it. Nick and Isabel Adams have gone out at the semi-final stage of Robot Wars for the 4th time. 13 Black, surely to... How can you smile when you've worked so hard on your machine? What are they doing out there? It's great fun. All that work. Great stuff. In defeat, a smile. And so some sort of dance. Yeah, well, the slogan is spin to win, coined by the Hypnodisc Rose family originally. And the Wild Thing team and the 13 Black boys heading out of the series semi-final. Beaten twice then in their initial battle in the semi and here in the losers melee. And Dan Tomkier looks much stronger now, don't you agree? Link back in place, and the full bottle pressure flipper seems to be working. They want the pit, you can hear the crowd crying. I think Dan Tomkier want 13 Black out of the arena, just as they flipped Mighty Mouse earlier on in the series and Chaos 2. 13 Black wants none of it. And he's still mobile, and he's still a threat with those two spinners. And he's got it underneath Dan Tomkier, and once again they're wedged on a grinder. That's the second time we've seen that. Not too clever, is it? So Killalot's there. Dead Metal briefly, he's retreated to have a run, I think, at Dan Tomkier. Just away, 13 Black comes in. That's a strong onslaught from 13 Black. When it crosses the arena like that, it's travelling at 20 miles an hour, but he's just left himself broadside on for a Dan Tomkier shove, and 13 Black goes over yet again. And we've seen, though they claim they're invertible, they can run upside down, it's hardly quick progress. Dan Tomkier, 1 or 2 shoves more. 6. It's going to go to the judges, this. I don't think they'll have too much work to do to decide the winner.